Hi, good day, welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI tournament. The results of the AIIDE tournament are in, and on top is of course Ceyda. Well, of course, should have been well obvious from the way it has been manhandling all the AIs at our server, but a win rate of 95%, almost 96%, that's quite insane. Average game time is pretty long, but then again you can't argue with these results. Number 2 Cherry Pie, number 3 CSE, Blue Sky, Cutest, Mind, Duchin, McGraves and Ironbot, and all the rest are following behind those. But no, let's look at the winning percentages of Ceyda. We've got this big huge table. Versus Cherry Pie, Ceyda won 83 out of 100 games. And that is about the worst it gets, because Microwave 100 and Steamhammer 97, Triple ZK 97, Ironbot it beat 89 to 2, and that is really ludicrous. And so many bots have been manhandled in such a way that they lost all of their 100 games, and that is quite impressive. So, ELO rating at our server, for comparison, we've got Ceyda with an ELO rating of nearly 2,500, and then it's a huge gap, more than 100 points to Crazyo, and then it is Cutest, and then the rest. So, good news is that the pursuit is on, and we had a lot of upgrades, so let's have a look at the first game, which is not really a reenactment of the finals, but it's the number 1 versus the number 2 of AIIDE, and it is Ceyda as the purple Terran, and of course it's Cherry Pie as the green Zerg. So we can now safely say that Samsung is better than Facebook, and well, let's watch this game for good measure. Of course, the setup of AIIDE is a little bit different. It's just one huge group phase of all bots against one another, 100 games per matchup, so that's quite a lot, which will of course greatly benefit those bots which have a learning capacity. Now the scouting probe gets cut short or blasted by this purple marine, and then Ceyda is going to be visited by another scouting drone. That's quite interesting. The first one didn't fare too well, and the second one is going to hightail it out of there, but not before seeing the natural being constructed. And of course, as a Zerg, you've got your natural up a little bit quicker, and Cherry Pie has got that right here. Now, Ceyda has got a handful of Marines, is going for a bunker to protect the natural, and is transferring some workers as well. So, early game, Ceyda managed that pretty well, and is also sort of containing Cherry Pie with 2 vultures. Cherry Pie ought to be careful for that nothing runs by that one suboptimally placed sunken, and you can see already that these vultures, without being touched, have sniped a couple of Zerglings and a drone, and now with their mines they do in a couple of Zerglings as well, so that's pretty good. And this drone had really rather be careful, and now it's dead, so very unfortunate for the drone and good news for the vultures. So Ceyda meanwhile has almost 40 workers to 29 of Cherry Pie. The army is bigger, and the contain is still holding, but here comes the first Hydra, and that might pose a little bit of a problem, and a drone sneaks out. It can't really make up its mind, but I think should be or should not be, or I don't know, is probably not going or is going to build a hatchery. Yes, there it goes finally. So Cherry Pie with a little bit of indecision, but is going to bring the battle back to Ceyda. And of course there are a couple of mines, but without siege tanks it's very hard to actually break that contain of these Hydras. Now the Hydra count's pretty low, and as you can see Cherry Pie is making a lot of drones, and by a lot of drones I mean a lot of drones. Keeping up with the Protoss in the early game worker wise is quite a feat as a Zerg. Problem for Cherry Pie is going to be that this mech army will grow and grow and grow, and unless you take the entire map, and I think that is exactly what Cherry Pie is going to do, you will be in a bit of trouble. So, small army cluster over here at the natural. Contain has been completely lifted, and these Hydras are trying to kill some vultures, and they do quite a bit of damage. One vulture going down, and this raiding party is getting pretty badly damaged, so auto return, and one vulture sneaking around the back. That's pretty well done. Is there any kind of defense here? No, there isn't. and no units either, so just mining up these bases over here. And the Zerg contain is real, now with a couple of neuters as well. That's good. We saw this one neuter got a lot of flak from these Goliaths. That's an insane number of Goliaths, all of 2 bases, but that would be quite enough to deal with this paltry Zerg army. Terran army is 70 army supply versus not even 30 of Zerg, and Zerg really has got no option but to flee. And now it should be all non-stop army production. Let's look at the production tab. That is exactly what's going to happen. The question though is, will it be enough? Because once this Terran push starts rolling, the DPS is insane, and I have got this handy overview here with me to show you that the +1/+1 is done, and Zerg is bleeding units by the bucket load. And although the production tab is still good, this base over here, we've got a small contingent of units, we've got a small contingent of units over here, and we've got some units over there, saving the third. That's good. But still, the problem is that this huge Terran army cannot be rightly attacked unless everyone chips in at the same time. And by the looks of it, Cherry Pie is very reluctant to fight. And that is not good, because now your natural is gone. Ceyda will be thinking about taking a third. And meanwhile, the army production will continue. Now, the container's all very nice, but if you lose your natural and your main, it's not going to work versus a proficient Terran like Ceyda. And to be quite honest, well, we haven't seen the final update of Cherry Pie yet, but I think that after last year's performance, Cherry Pie of course won our beautiful tournament, eking out Killerbot in the finals. I think that Cherry Pie has been not as well developed as Ceyda, for example, and some other bots. One Goliath shutting down this base completely. There are 2 mutas, 3 mutas. With one Goliath they can deal, but this large army is just going to be a bit of a bother. And now we've got a science vessel overhead as well, so this is not really going to work, as Cherry Pie is now experiencing, trying to rebuild over here, but the army difference is just too big, and I think I'm going to call the GG in the favor of Ceyda. So that's that. And right after that, I will cast my only recommendation of this week. I guess everyone has been busy with other things and watching, of course, the Canadian tournament. We have got Purple Wave and, of course, Ceyda. So, with winning a tournament and being such a dominant factor, it's no wonder that everyone's after Ceyda, and Ceyda is delivering good games. So, I'm not at all hesitant to cast this game as well. And I think if I have a small peek, I have got 1 or 2 more games of Ceyda left, and that will be it for today, I believe. So Ceyda again going for a quick bunker with 2 SCVs for repair. I think this scouting SCV assessed a ranged goon thing coming up, and now the goons are making their way to the base. This barracks is a little bit exposed, could be attacked and not covered by this bunker. But the first tank is out there as well, and siege mode is prepping, so Ceyda is pretty okay. Should be careful though not to lose one of the 2 first tanks, but instead Purple Wave losing a couple of way too many goons, and now retreats to a safer distance, but that was quite bad, losing 4 goons for nothing, and the tank has been repaired already. So Ceyda again with this 2 base thing going, has got a lot of income, and can of course build a large tank army behind this. Nice tank on the high ground. The Dark Templar thing is going to be nipped in the bud. Drawing some nice scans, that's good, because with only 2 comsats there is a turret, so that doesn't really matter. And if you ask, well, why is Ceyda scanning over here? Ceyda can actually see these Dark Templars, but it just can't target them unless it scans them. So as the human player can see a blur moving, these AIs have been given full sight range of cloaked units, and it's just the ability to target them which is quite beyond them. So they'll have to use a scan to target them, and that of course is keeping the number of scans in these comsats pretty low. So Purple Wave now has got 3 bases, some production over here. That's very nice, not to get cut off from your army production if there is a tank army covering this area over here. And now Ceyda is sort of stuck, but once it will get unstuck, it's got double the army supply and I think 3 or 4 times the army value. Purple Wave is mulling about, not doing anything at all, not anything sensible, that is. Just running around with a lot of goons in the middle of the map. Upgrade wise could be better as well. Terran has got +1 weapons, working on +1 armor, and a bit of shuttle play or a nice recall that might really work wonders, but still, even among these top bots, the fixation on the natural choke is too hard to resist. And oh dear, we've got a fleet beacon. What will that be? 1, 2... Ooh, 3 starports. Perhaps a carrier switch might hold this push, but it will have to come very quickly. The army of Ceyda is more than twice the size of that of Purple Wave. Purple Wave has been sitting back way too long, has got a small army of unupgraded units, and now there is a contain of the natural already. The first carrier is out. Let's see how many interceptors there are. Only 1, so that won't really do too much. Oh, 2 carriers now, and perhaps there will be 1 more soon too, but the general level of the game is that Ceyda has got things well under control. I don't know why the tanks are heading back. Perhaps they are going to wait for some Goliaths to cover their heads. And now Purple Wave is trying to clean up the Terran contain. The carriers are doing good work because there is absolutely no anti-air. That's a bit of an omission. And I think perhaps the scans that Ceyda spent on these Dark Templars precluded it from spotting the carrier attack in the third, really. So that's always nice to have. The 4th base up, and of course Ceyda has got a 3rd base. No, that's not a 4th base, that's just some mines. So 3 versus 4 base, that's pretty good. Now there are 3 carriers, I believe there are. And the Goliath numbers are being kept down by the gateway units and of course the carriers themselves. So for the time being, I think that Purple Wave is in an okay position, but really should get something moving. The carrier count is growing though, and Ceyda is feeding the heat. The Goliath count is too low. It's getting improved quickly out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 factories. This building encampment here is very, very vulnerable, and with that also the command center. The main is nearly mined out though, so that does really work. That's a nice EMP, just missing the carriers by a hair. And oh dear, I don't know if killing vultures is your first priority if you are under fire by these Goliaths. So let's see, range upgrade for the Goliaths is there of course, and now with some zealots and the carriers, the anti-air force, oh, they're all stuck behind these tanks. That's pretty good. Well, at least for Purple Wave it is. And Purple Wave is completely neglecting to harass these other bases, which are undefended, and instead this gateway army keeps running into the tanks every once in a while, so that's good for Ceyda. The carrier count though is getting bigger and bigger, and although the carriers are not microed as well as they could have been, with all this income, there is a lot of room for interceptor production. You can see that over here. Arbiters will be coming as well, so perhaps with Arbiters and carriers, Purple Wave can make things work. The sad fact is, though, that it's still trying to go for the throat, which is this natural choke, and it's just pretty well defended by all kinds of Terran units, so that's not good. But now with 2 groups of carriers, I think that the first damage to the Terran infrastructure is actually going to be done. And the Goliaths, which are mainly stuck over here, and a couple of them in the base. Oh, these goons are so suicidal, it's just not fun to be a goon this game. But the carrier count is now really getting out of hand. The Arbiter is not really covering the carriers, now it is. And the science vessel number is pretty low, and you can see how many Goliaths there are, and it's just insane. And this area is completely not covered, and oh well, this harass with 1 zealot is just not going to work. So I think that Purple Wave, although it's fighting a good fight, these carriers are so low, it just can't get anything done. There are too many Goliaths and the tank army is rolling. Ceyda is nearly maxed. We've got a full energy science vessel overhead, just keeping tabs on things, and 1 more science vessel over here. This carrier and this Arbiter especially are going to suffer and die. So Purple Wave not really being too effective in its choice of units, holding the push back a little bit, and that's mainly because these Goliaths can't be everywhere at once. Purple Wave is doing okay in the supply department. The bad thing is though that it is not harassing the enemy. It's got another base up, that's good. The carriers are fighting okay-ish, but the general thing is that there are so many Goliaths, and the Goliaths are so effective anti-air. And this large Purple Wave army, it's not that big. Purple Wave's got a lot of workers, and these are all. This is just 12 supply right there, just arbiters, and they're not really killing anything at this moment. Nice number of stasises, but behind that, Ceyda is just going to macro on and has got a larger army than has got Purple Wave. So Purple Wave is going to be in for a bit of a thrashing if it doesn't get more effective in these battles. The stasis thing will wear off. It can't go on indefinitely. These tanks are very exposed though, so I think Purple Wave can kill quite a number of them. And now it will have to win a straight up fight versus the Goliaths. And Goliaths are so effective at killing carriers, at killing interceptors, that it's not even funny. But with a couple of good stasises and a couple of sorties of the gateway units, it can sort of hold Ceyda. Ceyda's supply is dropping rapidly. Wow, that's pretty good. But the income of Ceyda is, well, still 2 bases. And Purple Wave has got a better income at this moment. And now, wow, these carriers are actually pushing back the Goliaths. The anti-air upgrades are +3, and the air-to-ground upgrades are +3 too. So that's a nice setup. Now you can see these carriers, they sort of equal the Goliath numbers. The damaged carriers, though, should be a little bit more careful, and you can see that they are taking prodigious amounts of damage. So many carriers are so badly damaged. This clump of... oh, there were some interceptors in there as well. There are arbiters over everything, but I think that Protoss might actually win this because, and I think I must ascribe this to the economy, 2 carriers over here trying to do what is best, but they just can't deal with these 2 pylons, and there is a goon coming as well, and a High Templar and another goon. So I think, yes, the natural is broken, the bunker is broken, but the entire air force of Protoss is suffering as well. So where are the Protoss forces? I think shutting down this base is pretty good, because then Terran will only be on 1 base, and that's got only 3 mineral patches left. For all intents and purposes, Ceyda is mined out. So if you want to play Ceyda, take a look at this game. Anti-air and macro-wise, it's still a little bit vulnerable. And of course a nice stasis here and there will help as well. This base has been raised, and of course this is the last Terran outpost, and that's just not going to make it. The supply of Ceyda is plummeting. There is only 10 army supply left, and that is stasis. The last turret of the natural is going to fall, and now it is going to be over pretty quick. And even this carrier will survive. Nice EMP on the Protoss units, but it's not really going to work. That's 5 arbiters right there. And Purple Waves is maxed. Is building some more, has got good upgrades, and well, that's how you beat Ceyda, apparently. So another bot which got updated didn't really... well, can we see that? How well it did in the Canadian tournament? Where is it? I can't really see it. Is Antigua there? No, Antigua did not participate. That's a pity. But we had an Antigua update, and let's see how it's going to do. Versus Toothpick Cactus, a Terran bot, which has also been updated quite heavily. Ooh, that was a lot of worker attention for just 1 scouting probe. The scouting probe makes it out of there alive as well. So that's a lot of mining time lost for basically not doing anything at all to that scouting probe. And now there is a Zealot and 1 Marine, and the Zealot of course takes it over the Marine, is going after the workers. And versus a melee unit, it's much better to have a decent worker defense. The next Zealot though is coming, and an unshielded Marine is not going to be doing very well. The factory will be done momentarily, but I think... oh, I would say that the Zealot has the better chances, but if it just keeps standing there, it obviously hasn't. And Toothpick is just ignoring the threat of Zealots coming in 1 at a time. And now we've got a goon trying to out-micro the Marine, but it's not really succeeding. It can, however, out-micro a scouting SCV. And I think that Antigua has got some micro work to do. This is really a damaged Marine is chasing back the goon, and now we'll have a vulture. Oh, the vulture. The goon understands how to kill a vulture. That's good. Natural taken in a strange position, but that's okay. And the goons have got the vulture thing well under control. But then the SCVs come off the line. But Toothpick Cactus is losing way too much time, and it's just not going to work at this rate. This hidden base over here, for all intents and purposes, is hidden. Might do it some good, but by now there are 5 goons. And with only 1 barracks and 1 factory, you are not going to really beat 5 goons. The worker defenses, as they are, I think are not enough. Even if you kill all these 5 goons, oh, there are a lot more goons now, or no, the numbers are being kept down by the workers, but there is no mining going on, and that's just not going to cut it. And with this choke, I think these goons are in an excellent position. We've got 6 now, and the worker count for Toothpick is falling rapidly. Hidden base is operational, so that's sort of keeping Toothpick in the game. But these vultures and marines, of course, can't do very well versus the dragoons. They haven't got the staying power and the firing power as well. So Antigua taking a quick game over Toothpick Cactus. And let's hop right into the next game. It is another upgrade by Simplicity, the yellow Zerg, which impressed, at least it impressed me very much with its glorious drop play. And we'll now go and have to see if it can use that drop play versus Sparks, which is a beautiful Terran bot by McGraves. McGraves came back to us finally. We have been waiting for it so long, and we've got a couple of games of McGraves as well, so please be excited for that. It is so very good. Now Simplicity is going for a quick defense of its own base, couple of Sunkens, and then the scouting Zergling, and the rest of the Zerglings is going to stand around in the main base. So Sparks is going for a weirdly placed pair of turrets and building spaced widely across its own base. There is a large Terran army on the move with medics, but I think that with these Sunkens, oh, it's trying to run by, but versus 4 Sunkens and the complementary Zergling force, it of course is not really going to work. And these Zerglings really also leave the medics alone and just wait till this army kills itself on the walls of this sunken defense. Now there are quite a number of Zerglings, but Sparks is just going to do it old style, just ferrying in units one at a time, and now even damaging one of the Sunkens quite badly. And I saw there was a tank coming up. If it's got siege mode, and it has, these turrets could be in grave danger. The first tank gets killed, that's very good. The Zergling production still going on, but now this tank has things well under control. The Zerglings are coming in and are trying to kill it, but the Marines are backing it up now. So Sparks, with a good Sparks play, Bio-Mech Hybrid, is going to do quite well. The Sunkens and the gas has been killed as well. That's strange prioritizing of this tank. Now the Zerglings are coming in as well. They are going to kill... Oh, that was friendly fire by the other tank. And this one is right in range of these Sunkens. And now the Lurkers are coming. And they've just got to be a little bit careful of these mines. But 3 Lurkers are doing a large amount of damage against these Marines. Have they got any upgrades? Yes, they have got the usual ones. But, oh, is that tank in range? Is that tank going to be in range? That is some burrow-unburrow siege mode. And this Lurker really paid for itself, so that I think is okay. The tank in range of the Sunkens again, that's not good. And what's worse, Simplicity snuck a drone out, so there will be 3 versus 1 bases. Sparks refusing to take a natural, and if it can't really build up a pressure with... yeah, that's the way to kill yourself. Terran will have the devil of a job breaking through here, especially as it keeps wasting tanks. If the tanks just stay right out of range of these Sunkens, they have a much better chance. And now with the in-base mineral only taken and the base at the 3rd completed, the 5th base is already starting for Simplicity, while there is still no natural for Sparks. Main is getting very low, and although the Terran army is in good shape, I think that... no, that drone doesn't get out. I think that Simplicity is in an okay position. Here comes some Overlords. I don't know what they are going to do. Simplicity is trying to defend versus the bio-tank hybrid thing. The Zerglings killed the tanks, and now it's looking like a complete rout, but these Stimp Marines can do such a lot of damage, and just let the lurkers come up and shoot a little bit more at them, run away, and let's have the tank in there as well. So this kind of skirmish is ideal for Sparks. Spark really needs a natural and needed it days ago. The third is up and running, and although the saturation isn't too good, it's just all hatcheries and income for Zerg. Main is still producing a little bit of income out of these mineral patches. This will not be mined out yet as well, and although the Terran has got a good army, that's 40, 60, is nearly 50 supply of biotank. The problem is here that this is the last mineral patch of Terran, and Zerg's got really half of the map, and well defended as well. And oh dear, they're taking a 6th base, and now the army supplies of Terran and Zerg are going to bifurcate, because this last mineral patch won't last forever, and if it will, either Sparks will be down to long distance mining. Ooh, that tank is going to be wasted. Pity. These turrets are going to fall, and now the long distance mining thing is going to go completely wrong, because there are Zerglings all over the SCVs already, and the income, you can see 3 SCVs, 4, 5 make it out of there, and as there is no money, oh dear, the small drop just came in here and doing a lot of damage. The Terran army is completely ignored, and here comes a large Zerg force which might be able to do away with that. Here it comes. The Terran has got the first shots. Ooh, the mine! No, God, the mine really killed a lot of Zerg there, but Terran forces are so few. There are only 23 army supply, and the main base looks like this, and that's probably the worst thing, because the danger is real that the Terran base might be completely eradicated before even this small pocket of fighting forces is rounded up. Now, Simplicity is going for a lot of workers, and by a lot of workers, I mean a lot of workers. 77 army supply, topping 100, and well, the refinery is still there, and these forces are now going to be attacked. But the Zerg army might find the refinery any time. Yes, there it goes. And the Marines are killing some stuff. The medics still have got energy, but that was the game. Simplicity taking a game of Sparks, which refused to expand. Next game up, it's Killerbot versus the Cutest. And I thought, well, with another Killerbot update, let's see how it's going to play versus the #1 Protoss in the game. Can I say that? Of course I can say that, but is it really true? Yeah, well, no, Cutest is number 5 at the moment, but I must say that CSE, Blue Sky, Isamine, Duchin really look a lot like the Cutest, so I don't know if they are really copies, or I hope that Dave Churchill is going to tell us anything about that, how the sources of these bots compare, because I cast the game, a couple of games for the AIIDE tournament, and they were also very, very similar. So I don't know if this is to be considered one bot, namely the Cutest, with a couple of very closely related brethren, or if it's something completely different. Then you've got McGraves, and well, if you've got McGraves over there, the Cutest is still a considerable bit better. Crazyo, of course, didn't participate in AIIDE because it didn't. Krasimir didn't want to reveal its source. That's his good right, but I'd really like to have seen where his bot would stack up. Of course, Ceyda isn't really in Crazyo's league at the moment, but you never know. And we've got a month, I believe, until the deadline for the student StarCraft AI tournament. So I think that everyone will be working very hard to bring down Ceyda. So what we see here is Killerbot is going to be broken because there is only one sunken and there is no army at all. That's very uncharacteristic. And there is going to be a spire perhaps, but the natural is in tatters. This base over here is okay, but the natural and the main are completely defenseless, and that is not good at all. So with a small complement of Mutalisks, I don't think that Killerbot can really do anything about these goons. You can see the Mutacloud is puny. It will have to run from 2 goons even, and the main base looks like this. There is 1 base left, that's good, but you can't really do anything with 3 workers and 3 sunkens and things like that. There are 2, 3 Protoss bases nearly, and the Mutacloud is there, but it's just too small and taking a lot of damage for no good reason. The drones have gone crazy, they're just standing around, and that's not good. So Killerbot really banking a little bit too heavily on its muter play, and there is just nothing else. These drones, had they gotten back, they could have done a lot of good. They are half of the working force of Killerbot, and now the goons are just going to go after the sunken. There is only one left, and I think that once it is down, it is the GG Killerbot. A little bit overconfident. So there we go. New bot alert. It's called Fresh Meat, and let's see if we have anything on it. Fresh Meat is Halpan learning to play Zerg. Dear oh dear. Dynamic build order system and potential field. So that's looks promising. Let's see how it performs, because generally speaking, you've got this rule how more fancy stuff is in a bot, the harder it is to detect that from its play, and generally the play will get a little bit cumbersome. The heuristics are at this point still better. Heuristics and APM spam is better than having any kind of cool AI technique. But then again, AI technique is developing, and we have seen this beautiful terrain analysis. We've got FAP, we've got BWEM, and the beautiful SimCities resulting of that are really something. Now, Delivery is going for a lot of Zerglings, and by a lot I mean really a lot. Natural expansion is coming. Fresh Meat is going to defend with a couple of Sunkens. Really small army, but I think with 2 Sunkens and the worker count, which is a little bit bigger, you can fight off Zergling attacks quite effectively, and I think that's going to be either a lurker play or perhaps later on muter play. And oh dear, what's this? The Lingvery is going for a 3rd base. Worker count is pretty low. It looks a bit like Garmbot, and that is unfortunate. So that will be, oh god, 1 second. Alright, that was silly. I still haven't figured out how to pause a recording, and there was someone at the door, so we're on the phone, and the butler isn't here, so that was quite unnecessary, but I had to break up because I can't really let the real world wait for a beautiful recording like this. So Fresh Meat just runs by. We've got this Zergling attack being shut down by the Zerglings of Fresh Meat and Hydra, and of course the Sunken Colony. The lair is there. Will we have Lurker aspect as well? Yes, but right before it finishes, I think that Fresh Meat is going to go for the kill. All the bases are operational. There are a number of Zerglings, but they are not here, and the worker count for delivery is pretty low. There is 1 drone over here, most of them are in the main, and these forces of deliveries are not really going to do anything. So Lurker aspect isn't even done yet. Nice bit of defending here with Sunken Colonies, and the natural and the main are being trashed at the same time. That's pretty well done. And another, no, that's the Overlord still. So resetting here at this base. Let's see if Fresh Meat will find the enemy at its new location. It appears to be going for this main base over here. That's pretty weird. Oh, the Lurkers have found this base over here. That's good. And 1 Hydra has found a base, is going to find another one, and immediately the entire army whips round, and it can't really make up its mind where it's going to go. Some units are going to be killed by Zerglings. That's good, because that 1 Hydra really wanted to kill that 1 hatchery. And now Fresh Meat's army is going to be rather silly. But as there is no more army for the Lingvery, I think that this is going to be the end of the game. And more Hydras show up. Oh, and finally, after the last building gets killed, the Zerglings are on the move again. So, GG Fresh Meat will be watching. Hopefully it will get a little bit better. So, another game, and it's now Cherry Pie versus Duchin. And I say, well, Cherry Pie was over Duchin by quite a margin, 90 versus 70% win rate. Now let's see if that's going to be reflected in this match. So Cherry Pie going for a quick hatchery and is going to be stopped by this beautiful SimCity. 2 cannons, forge spinning, handful of zealots, and you can see that Duchin is going to take its sweet time building a lot of zealots, 26 army supply. The question though is, has got Cherry Pie enough to hold this? Because right now there is only 6.5 army supply for Cherry Pie, and this base can probably not be defended. And is there anything here? There is only 1 sunken, and again Cherry Pie is trying to wing it without defending. The Zerglings are coming in, but these Zealots are just way too strong. They've got the +1 already, so these Zerglings, they don't really mean much to a Zealot like that. And another pair of Zealots is going to town on this base, and that pretty much was the game, I believe. So, Cherry Pie falling to a brutal +1 timing attack. The Overlords are mulling about like true professionals, but it's not going to be enough. This base will fall as well. And Duchin now switching into some goons, but I don't really believe they will be necessary. Oh well, 2 goons will reach the front. And Cherry Pie has got a lot of infrastructure, but has got no army at all, and that's very, very dangerous. So that is going to be the good game. Another bot which got updated was Steamhammer, and Steamhammer, of course, is pretty good. Has been used as a stepping stone for a lot of other bots, so let's see how it will play in this updated version. And as an opponent, I took the, well, really marine-heavy Egbert, I should say. There is a lot of infantry coming from this bot, and here we go. We are starting out with 2 barracks already. Quick expansion, bunker is going to be up, and ooh, the SCVs arrived just in time to beat back the Zerglings, and that was a really heavy commitment by Steamhammer. Steamhammer has got a lair coming up, and that was about it. 3 sunkens for some added safety, but you can see already where Egbert is going, just building marines 1, 2 at a time. Got 3 barracks already. This will probably be the armory, only the academy, sorry. And lots of SCVs, not mining too much gas. Right now it can't build medics anyway, and now it will have gas and an academy, and is going to build, I think, more, another barracks, and of course a factory for more upgrades. No Terran upgrades yet, only the Stim, that's pretty good. And here comes the Terran army, and ooh, this lurker is going to be killed. So 2 lurkers can do quite a bit of damage, but still Steamhammer is, ooh, that's a nice amount of scans out of Egbert. But the marines that do reach the sunkens are going to be trapped. And then this lurker can deal with 1 marine probably, and with 1 medic as well. Oh, and should just have kept its head down. Yeah, lurker micro is one of the hardest thing ever. I think if these were marines, the lurker would have been dead, and now it's kind of a weird standoff. But Egbert is still in control of this game, as Steamhammer's only got 2 or 4 army supply, and this lurker it can just sort of hold off these fire bats. But that's about the extent of their prowess. Behind that, Egbert is regrouping, and Steamhammer is still pretty slow with another base. It's got 1 over here, but oh, that is a brilliant position for 2 lurkers. And is there a scan available? Looks like it isn't. And 2 lurkers on top of the ramp are going to wreak havoc with oh, now they are stimming too with this bio army. Look at all the damage they are doing. Just 2 lurkers. Steamhammer hasn't got an army in the world. Now they are stimming in, trying to run in to kill the lurkers, but oh, they are so very powerful. So 3rd base for Egbert up as well. Now these lurkers, they must fall, really, because well, you can't. With 2 nearly dead lurkers, you can't hold the entire Terran army. That's just not how you do it. And now Ooh, I radiate on an almost dead lurker. That's not good because there are more lurkers coming in, although there is quite a little bit of DPS. Now Steamhammer has got a 4th base, so macro-wise it has become a little bit more of a monster, a minor macro monster still, but oh, look at the damage coming out of these lurkers, and they really ought to be backed up by a couple of Zerglings, but still, number of SCVs and barracks units are going to be killed, and Egbert is now in a bit of trouble, but Steamhammer is not building any army. So that's pretty weird. It's only got 3 army supply, and now Egbert has had enough, is sending over a long train of medics interspersed with a couple of marines in the front. And with the sunken and the lurkers, I think that this Terran army hasn't got the shadow of a chance. Another base by Steamhammer, 3rd base for Egbert is up, that's good. So Egbert has got quite a bit of production capacity, and Steamhammer is just not going to do anything about this vessel, and is going to have a go at the natural choke again. And still the natural choke is such a huge obsession. Now the Lings are there, but the Lings will probably be dead before the bunker is down, and although that's quite a lot of lurkers. And there goes the bunker, and here comes some reinforcing troops, and Steamhammer is taking more and more bases. How I love to see that. It's really cluttering the natural choke, but all the technology at this outpost over here. We even got a defiler mount. Let's hope we'll get some defilers in too. Egbert is building some production at the 3rd base, but once your natural starts looking like this, and there are about 10 lurkers in it, it's going to be very hard to come back from that. And now we've got mutas as well. I don't know, let's look at their micro. It's not the most efficient. There are only 3 mutas too, so that could be problematic as well. And will we have the right units coming from everywhere? This is just pure Siren Zerg, only filtering the units in 1, 2, 3 at a time. And Steamhammer is kicking 90k APM around. Has some difficulties with mining gas. These 3 drones, they are sort of stuck. This one appears to be 2, so that's a minor issue, doesn't really matter much. Will we have a defiler? We'll have some ultras. Oh, well, we've got 1 defiler. Unfortunately, I know where it is. It's here. Unfortunately, there is no Terran resistance anymore, so I doubt we are going to see Swarm. Is there... yeah, well, Plague is there, and Consume is there as well. And will it do anything? So, here we go. Here come the ultras. The 3 mutas are there. And this is going to be quite a Zerg party, as Steamhammer is basically maxed. So Steamhammer is going to macro a little bit more. Like to see that. And Egbert really was a little bit ballsy with its sallies. So we also welcome back McGraves. And we had a little bit... McGraves wasn't really happy with the way in which we handled the learning environment at the last finals. And, well, not to put too fine a point on it, was quite right in doing so. But this year's tournament convinced him to come back, so let's go and enjoy the game. So right when McGraves left, we had a great rivalry going between McGraves and BReaver, and let's see how it's going to pan out now. BReaver starting with 2 gates at the ramp, and McGraves starting with 1 gate and then a quick core. So probably going to own here. No core yet from BReaver. BReaver is going to do a 2 gate with a lot of zealots, and here comes the 2nd gate for McGraves. And meanwhile, these zealots are somewhat messed up, but they can do quite a bit of damage before... oh god, their targeting is so bad. What's so important that you need to go and kill this not even finished thingy gateway, although a lot of mining time is lost at this end of the map. The goons are coming in though, and although McGraves has lost a couple of workers, I think that these goons in the end will do it a lot of good, killing the scouting probe, and still no cyber core, although this might be it. No, that's the forge, still no core for BReaver. And once you've got a handful of goons, they can basically kill zealots for a living. So there you go. No natural yet, 2 by BReaver. Going for another gateway, and here comes the technology, but it's going to be pretty late, and you are going to have to fight pretty hard to hold the high ground with this badly placed pylon. these two gateways will be depowered if the pylon dies. Fortunately for BReaver, McGraves isn't really pressing the issue at this moment. And here are the first goons of BReavers. Range not done yet, and this might be a good time for McGraves to take a natural. So going to speed it up just a tiny little notch, because this army of McGraves isn't really doing anything but occupying the natural. And BReaver's just sitting there on the high ground. And both armies are rather the same. McGraves has got a bit of an edge, but as long as there is no natural, it doesn't really matter too much. Upgrade-wise, nothing's happening. So for the time being, these bots are stuck on one base. Oh, and here comes a Reaver. That's pretty good. We've got one Reaver, and if it's microed pretty well, it can do a lot in these Reaver goon battles. But the battle is going to take a while, and here comes more goons for McGraves. So there we go. BReaver sitting back on the high ground. Oh, I think this game just crashed. No, it didn't crash. Both players are still building stuff, but there is just nothing happening fighting-wise, and McGraves is just straight out neglecting or refusing to build. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. With 4 Reavers, they do take 60 shot, and this long-distance mining by BReaver is not going to work. BReaver is now trying to move down the ramp, but McGraves isn't really having any of that. Ooh, and that was a very good Scarab. So, BReaver has got a little bit of an army deficit. Hasn't got as much gas for goons because it built some Reavers. And McGraves is trying to snuggle in. And BReaver's got quite a bit of money for Scarabs, so I think the production tab will look like a lot of Scarabs. And a lot of gateways as well. I don't know what that's about, but that wouldn't really be the wisest thing to spend money on at this point. And McGraves is going to mine out its main 2. If it's going to long distance mine, its odds will be pretty good. And now McGraves is under pressure because BReaver is moving down the ramp. It's only got 12 more Scarabs. So the Scarabs it is going to fire will have to do very much damage. 4, 3, 2, 1 Scarab left. And McGraves still has got the vastly superior army. Only does it know that these Reavers are without Scarabs, because if you've got these Reavers and the units the enemy thinks they are fully loaded, they will keep their distance. And that way it will be quite a bit of a mess. So, McGraves is going to long distance mine. That is moderately good. And now I think it will be a war of attrition as there are no more... Oh god, this game is completely off the rails. BReaver's got a lot of gas but nothing to spend it on because it's got absolutely no minerals. It's not killing the power generators, could do that. And army-wise, BReaver's got 44, McGraves got 99, and we are just going to count the minutes. At 64 times the speed, 128 times the speed, no natural yet for McGraves. McGraves is going to long distance mine the hell out of this natural, and it's actually going to it killed the first mineral patch. I really don't know. Oh, here comes McGraves, finally. So McGraves is pressing the issue. There is a nice concave by BReaver, and BReaver's doing pretty well, but where this was 44 earlier... Oh god, the probes, they all came in and died, so that's not good for the probes. BReaver is still in this game, because 1 or 2 more of these abortive attacks and McGraves out of the game. McGraves has now only got 1 probe long distance mining, and that doesn't really work, does it? And the game timed out, or BReaver left or crashed. Oh god, what a... GG! So, last game up. It is going to be... Oh, and I got slowed down a bit. That was 128 times the speed at the start of the game. Nothing happened. It's Ceyda versus CrazyBot, the number 1 versus the number 2 on our own pretty ladder. And the difference is pretty big. So let's refresh that. Yeah, there is about 140 points difference between those 2 players. And it is pretty... that's quite a lot. So CrazyBot has been rather dominant this year. And then Ceyda came along and put it, well, 150 points behind. So that is no mean feat. And CrazyBot is going for the contain. Ceyda has got the natural up and running. Crazy just started it. Earlier, Crazy would just plain out refuse. Oh, and that's a nice defensive setup by Crazy, but there are no SCVs for repair, and now Ceyda has got its position cleared, has got control of the bridges, and that's pretty good. Ooh, Crazio's tanks really rather clustered, and Crazio's barracks is way behind, and now Ceyda snipes it. That's sloppy air cover by Crazio, but the natural is up and running, and both players are perfectly balanced as of yet. Upgrade wise, Ceyda starting the range. Both players have got siege mode, and mines will be done for Ceyda soon as well. And now Ceyda is killing the floating buildings of Crazio. That's always a nice thing to do, and Ceyda is gaining ground. Crazio has to be very careful not to get contained, especially not without air cover. It is not rebuilding. Oh, it's got another barracks ready, so that's good. So it can hold out versus Ceyda. Ceyda, though, is, I think, not going to be deterred. Has got a little bit less army supply, but Crazio is in a tough position, as it will be soon be cut off, and then Ceyda can take another base. You can see immediately one tank, 2 Goliaths coming over to this base to help them protect it. And now Crazio is under a lot of pressure. The air cover of Ceyda's is just better, and Crazio is losing units one at a time. So you can see how this is working. Ceyda is just a little bit more on point. The repair of the SCVs could be a little bit better, but all in all, Ceyda has got double the amount of supply that Crazio has. Crazio trying to take this base over here, but the vultures of Ceyda's are all over it, and Ceyda is doing this with a 3-2 base advantage, and has of course map control, so it can take more bases. Crazio is being thrown back upon its own bridges. You can see that the freedom of movement is very important in matchups like these. Ceyda is throwing a lot of rockets at the scouting building of Crazio. Its own barracks is being repaired. That's good. This contain is so very good. Upgrade wise, both players don't really differ that much. Let's see, technology wise, upgrade wise, no, that's not too much. Crazio's got the range and has got the vulture upgrades. Oh, well, one vulture upgrade, which Ceyda skipped. Ceyda just thought, well, if I, instead of that vulture upgrade, I'll get either a Goliath or a tank or something like that. Now Ceyda, though, has got this base protected, that base protected, mines everywhere, turrets everywhere, and Crazy just can't get out. Has taken mineral only again, but Ceyda has things well under control, and will even start to range the mainland buildings of Crazio. Crazio behind its own bridges. That's a horrible position, and it's down. It's got 1/3 of the supply that Ceyda has at this point. Ceyda is going to attack this base with a siege tank and some cover. Nice mine drop, but oh yes, that hit. Crazio definitely on the back foot. Rescued its command center. That's good, I think. Oh, but here comes another drop, and the command center just puts down, and then Ceyda's got things well under control with these tanks over here. That's a very good drop, just 3 dropships full, but if it's not contested, it's very hard for Crazio to deal with that. Main is mining out, natural's getting low, and Ceyda is rolling in the natural. Wow. Crazio lifting command center again, but it really hasn't got anywhere to go. Ceyda is just everywhere. Crazio has got only 28 supply left, most of that in vultures. The last tank dies, Crazio mined out, and that is how Ceyda wins its game. It is an immaculate macro machine. So again, congratulations to Ceyda, not only for winning this game and being on top of this ladder, but also winning the AIIDE tournament in Canada. Of course, we've got about a month left until the deadline of our beautiful student StarCraft AI tournament. Thank you everyone who has suggested the game, all the coders, and of course all your watchers. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you again next week. Goodbye.